There's a number sitting somewhere on your phone right now. Maybe you know it exactly. Maybe you avoid looking at it. Either way, that number, whatever it is, has already determined how a bank is going to treat you the next time you walk through their doors. Not who you are, not what you've been through, just the number. Most people never find out how the other half lives inside a bank. They stay in their tier their whole lives, and the system never volunteers any information about what's happening 2 floors above them. So let's walk through it, all of it. Every level, every unwritten rule, every moment where the institution either sees you or looks straight through you. Level 1, negative balance. You didn't mean to overdraft. Nobody ever does. It was something small, a streaming service, a scheduled payment you forgot about, a $6 charge that hit on the wrong morning. The account went under by maybe $8, 12, something. That feels like a rounding error. The bank doesn't see a rounding error. The bank sees a trigger. And within hours, sometimes minutes, a $34 fee lands on an account that was already empty. The penalty for not having money is losing more of it. That's not a bug in the system. That's the feature. You try to call, you wait. The hold music is designed to feel like it goes on forever because, on some calls, it does. When someone finally answers, they're reading from a script so rehearsed you can almost hear them flip to the right page. They tell you the fee stands. They tell you there's a process. They tell you someone will reach out. Nobody reaches out. What happens next is quieter than you'd expect. Your rent bounces. Your car insurance lapse notice comes in the mail. A subscription you needed for work gets cut. Each one of these has its own downstream consequence, and they start stacking before you've had a chance to fix the first one. What started as an $8 mistake is now $200 of cascading damage. And through all of it, the branch teller has a specific look. Not mean, not sympathetic, just efficient. You stop being a person in front of her and become a transaction type. A flag in the system. An account that costs the bank more than it earns. You feel it the second you approach the window. You feel it when you leave. You feel like a liability. Because as far as the system is concerned, that's exactly what you are. Level 2, $200. You clawed your way back to positive. Picked up extra hours. Skipped things you didn't want to skip. The account has a balance now, a real one, and that should feel like something. It does for about 48 hours. Then the monthly maintenance fee hits. $12, sometimes $15, quietly subtracted. No warning, no notification, no explanation, just gone. The minimum to waive it is $1,500, and $1,500 might as well be $15,000 from where you're standing right now. So you pay the fee every month. You pay a bank to store money you barely have. You apply for a credit card because every financial article you've ever read says to build your credit. The bank offers you a secured card. You have to deposit $300 of your own money as collateral before they'll issue you a card with a $300 limit. Then they charge you interest to use it. 24%. They are lending you your own money and charging you for the privilege, and somewhere in the fine print this is described as a benefit. You go into the branch one afternoon to ask about the fee. The teller in front of you is helping an older man, laughing about something, asking about his grandchildren. When it's your turn, the smile recalibrates. It becomes professional, measured. She processes your request in under a minute, gives you the answer, which is essentially no, and moves to the next person before you've turned to leave. The warmth comes back immediately. You notice it over your shoulder. You weren't disrespected. That's the thing. You weren't yelled at or turned away or treated rudely. You were processed. And somehow that feels worse, because at least rudeness means you registered. What you felt instead was closer to invisibility, the particular silence of someone who's been categorized before they opened their mouth. Level 3, $2,000. Something changes, and the change is invisible unless you know where to look. Your direct deposit hits consistently. Every 2 weeks, same amount, same day, reliable as a clock. The system notices. Not you, the pattern. 1 month, the maintenance fee doesn't appear. You check twice. You check 3 times, sure it's a delay. It isn't. Your deposit cadence matched a profile the bank was looking for, and the fee quietly disappeared. The bank didn't call to tell you. Nobody sent a letter. The obstruction just evaporated. Because you started behaving like someone they could sell things to. The credit card offers start arriving. Real ones this time, no security deposit, no collateral, actual credit with a $2,000 limit. The institution that wouldn't extend you anything 6 months. Ego is now mailing envelopes with your name, embossed in a slightly fancier font, pre-approved. You didn't change. Your pattern did. You apply for a small personal loan. $5,000 for a car repair that's been sitting undone for 3 months. Approved in 2 days. The rate isn't great, 11%, but the process worked. It moved the way it's supposed to move. You think about all the times it didn't and realize the difference wasn't effort. It was number. The teller still doesn't ask about your life, but she makes eye contact now. She says good morning. It's not warmth. Don't confuse it for warmth, but it's recognition. You've graduated from invisible to legible. The bank can read you now, and what it reads is potential revenue. You're not a person to them at $2,000. You're a product opportunity they've decided to pursue. Level 4, $15,000. You didn't ask for a relationship banker. He just called one Tuesday morning. His name was something like Marcus or James. He said it twice, slowly, like he wanted you to remember it. And he asked if you had 15 minutes, sometime this week, to talk through your financial goals. The same bank that once kept you on hold for 40 minutes to dispute a fee is now calling you first thing in the morning, proactively, to ask about your future. The rates shift. A car loan that would have cost you 11% at $2,000 is closer to 7 now. Not because you negotiated harder, because the number next to your name moved, and the number next to your name is the negotiation. You didn't do anything differently. The bank decided you were less of a risk, and lower risk means cheaper money. A fee appears on your statement. You email your banker, a phrase you've started using with genuine ownership, and it's reversed within a few hours. One message, no phone tree, no wait, just taken care of. The same fee structure that drained you for years turns out to have an off switch. The switch only works at certain balances. You start noticing things. Your name spelled right in the subject line. An email that references a conversation from 3 months ago. Small touches, subtle ones, engineered to feel personal without actually being personal. The bank is courting you, quietly, the way someone acts when they've decided they don't want to lose you. But they'd rather you not notice the decision was made. Level 5, $80,000. Preferred client. The words appear on your statement, on your login screen, in the signature line of every email Marcus sends. You didn't apply for the status. You didn't even know it existed. The number crossed a threshold the bank set internally, and the label appeared automatically, like a door unlocking from the other side. Marcus knows things about you now. Small things. You mentioned your brother was moving across the country 8 months ago. One passing comment. In a call about something else, and Marcus remembers it. He asks about the move. This isn't warmth. It's training. The bank teaches its relationship managers to collect details, because details create loyalty, and loyalty is worth more than any one transaction. When you visit the branch, someone stands up. Not the teller, someone with a nameplate and a back office. They move you past the line, not dramatically, quietly, the same line you stood in for years. You realize, walking past it, that you didn't know the line had an exit until you were standing on the other side of it. A pre-approval letter arrives for a $400,000 mortgage. You haven't looked at a single listing. You haven't told the bank you're thinking about buying. They looked at the number, looked at your pattern, and decided you were ready before you decided. They want the loan before you've asked for it. That's a shift in power that's easy to miss if you're not looking for it. A competitor calls. Better rates. New savings tier. You mention it to Marcus, casually, like it's not a test, even though it is, and he calls back within the hour with a counteroffer. The institution that once couldn't find 5 minutes to return a call is now competing in real time to retain your business. You've crossed from customer to asset. Assets get defended. Level 6, $500,000. The bank stops being somewhere you go. The bank becomes something that comes to you. Marcus doesn't email anymore. He calls. And when he calls, there's someone he wants you to meet. A colleague who handles wealth management. A woman whose handshake is exactly as firm as it needs to be. She drives to your office. Not the other way around. She brings printed materials in a leather portfolio. She asks about your tax structure, your estate plans, whether you've thought about a foundation. She listens in a way that feels attentive enough to be real. At the end of 90 minutes, she doesn't ask you to sign anything. She just leaves a card. Says she'll send a follow-up summary. The ask, if there is one, is invisible. It happened somewhere inside the conversation before you realized it was happening. There's a dinner, 12 clients, a speaker, a view of the city from a floor you've never seen it from. Nobody talks about money directly. Money is the atmosphere of the room. It's what made the room possible. But the conversation is about travel, policy, a book someone just finished. You understand, leaving, that this is what high-end sales looks like when it's done correctly. It never feels like sales. You call one afternoon about a wire that's stuck. Someone answers on the second ring. No music, no prompts. The wire is resolved before you hang up. The same type of call once took 3 hours and 4 departments. What changed wasn't the problem. What changed was who the account belongs to. Level 7, $5 million. Private banking sounds like a variation on wealth management. It isn't. Wealth management is a department. Private banking is a relationship structure. And the difference between those two things is the difference between being served and being known. Your private banker manages fewer than 20 accounts. Yours is one of them. He knows your kids' names. He knows about the investment property you're considering in another state because you mentioned it once over coffee. The interest rate on your mortgage isn't pulled from a published menu. It's negotiated in a phone conversation. The paperwork timeline that takes a regular customer 2 weeks collapses to 48 hours because someone at the right level told someone else whose account this is. You walk into a branch you've never been to before. Different city, different state, and the person at the desk knows your name before you hand over any ID. System has flagged you across every location, not because you're famous, because of where you sit in the institution's internal hierarchy. There's a database that surfaces your name the moment your account number appears. You don't ask for this. It simply is. There's a meeting, a conference room with no signage, a table that's one piece of wood, a conversation about a private investment that doesn't appear on any public prospectus. The room exists because clients like you exist. The deal exists because relationships like yours justify it. You're not being brought a product. You're being brought an opportunity. The distinction matters to everyone in the room. At $5 million, the bank doesn't follow its own rules uniformly anymore. It applies judgment, and the judgment always finds a way to work in your favor. Level 8, $25 million. You don't have a banker. You have a relationship. And that word, relationship, is doing more work than it appears to at first glance. Your account is a line item in someone's performance review. Losing you wouldn't just affect revenue. It would affect careers. 3 people inside the institution have job descriptions that were partially shaped by your account's existence. They've never been told that. Neither have you. But the architecture of their roles reflects the architecture of your wealth. Nothing is off the shelf anymore. Loan terms are drafted from scratch in phone conversations. Investment structures are built around your specific timeline and tax position. Deals are presented to you before they've been offered publicly. Before they've been offered to almost anyone. And sometimes you're not just participating in deals. You're being consulted on them. The head of private banking calls to ask what you'd want to see in a new product. The chief investment officer wants your read on a sector. You are, at this level, shaping the institution. Not loudly, not with any formal authority, but the bank is paying attention to you in a direction that runs both ways now. They're not just serving you, they're learning from you. The same institution that once charged you $34 for a $4 overdraft, that once left you on hold, that once moved you through like luggage, that institution is now on a plane to come ask your opinion. The system didn't change, the number did. What the bank never tells you. Right now, somewhere, someone is staring at a minus sign on their phone. A charge they forgot processed overnight. The balance is negative by $11. The fee will hit within the hour. They'll call. They'll wait. The script will be read to them. Nobody will call back. They don't know yet that the same institution is currently competing in a private dining room for the attention of someone worth 8 figures. They don't know that the rules they're living under aren't the only rules that exist. They don't know that the system running against them is running for someone else, someone who looks, from the outside, like a slightly different version of them. That's the part nobody says out loud. The bank isn't cruel. The bank isn't broken. The bank is simply a structure that optimizes for value, and value is measured in balance, in deposits, in the revenue potential of whoever is standing at the window. At $0, you cost more than you earn. At $25 million, you are the product the bank is built around. You are the same person at every level. Same intelligence, same capability, same story you carry into every branch. The bank decides who you are based on a single variable. What's sitting next to your name in the system? The bank doesn't transform across these 8 levels. It reveals itself. What you see at the top isn't a different institution. It's the same institution without its filter on. That's what nobody tells you at the bottom. And that's exactly what you need to understand before you can build your way to the top.